Hi everyone and welcome to the second trading recap for the second week of August. And I traded a few more stocks this time compared to last week. So let's start immediately with FULC, on which I took weirdly a short. My entry was here at 1337. The idea was that 19 was breaking and the ask couldn't reclaim 19, and I was looking for a play down to the 200 here on the 1 minute or the 50 EMA on the 5 minutes. It didn't go as planned. It had some resistance here that I didn't notice it was coming from this candle, so at roughly 1884. It broke through, went to 1870 at a low of 1875, where I tried to cover and I didn't make it. I wasn't filled, and right after it immediately bounced off that level that basically was nowhere, and it reached my stop, which was the 20 EMA here. You can see after crossing it here on this candle, and I had to cover. Small loss, but anyway, it was fine. The trade idea I think was solid. The stock was showing weakness, and in the end it went right where I supposed it was going to work. So a bit choppy, that's fine, no problem. So this was on the August 10th. Same with the ZEV, still on August 10. The idea here was a bit different. I was looking for a long, and especially I was looking for after the stock made this quite choppy run up to here. You can see it was trending on the 5 minute. We can see it was trending. I was looking for the next break of the descending resistance. As you can see, it was quite it was working more often than not. Like on this candle here, we can trace these lines here, or even on this one here. And you can see that this when it was starting to break the descending resistance, it immediately didn't tap more lower than the support level, and then started to go. And I was looking for the next move in this sense, like here. Unfortunately, it didn't work. I took a long basically at on this candle, and I was in at 1162, so right about here when it broke through this line, and it was making a new 5 minute high. We can see it better on this. This was a new 5 minute candle to make a new high. The first 5 minute candle to make a new high, and well, I wouldn't say this was a very clean setup. It was more driven by these previous actions that provided a bigger move, and considering my target was around this line, this daily line 11, 19 and 90 to 12, I thought it had a good profit to loss ratio. My stop was below the 20 here, and as it tapped it and couldn't hold it very well, I sold again for a small loser, I think right around here. I gave it a bit of time to test it out, but I really wasn't feeling okay holding it for longer, and I think that was a good idea, because you can see what happened on this candle. This was not a 1 minute drop, it was a 1 second drop. It basically flushed immediately after rejecting this level, as this resistance line became a bit more precise. Okay, I tapped it for the last time here, and this candle basically flashed immediately. It was an interesting case study. It found resistance, I mean support here on near view up and this level, and started to slowly climb up. And here basically what happened is that as it reclaimed the 200 and it couldn't go back below, everyone who went short probably here just got squeezed hard, and it ripped through, then came back down. It became very whippy and difficult to trade. So I was just watching it by then. As it made this move, I was saying, no, okay, the risk is not worth. So on the next day instead, so August 11th, I traded 3 stocks, very different stocks from one another. The first one was GTIM on this candle here. That was the first 5-minute candle to make a new high. We can go and see it on the 5-minute right here. As you can see, it wasn't very clean. I mean, it had support from the 9 EMA, very good support, but the previous price action wasn't that clear. You can see there was push, then failed, then reclaimed you up for a second, faded again, reclaimed it again, and that it was on very low volume. I noticed it, but I was trying not to be hesitant on setups I liked, and given there was this descending resistance, even though it was a bit steep, but you can see it was somehow plausible, let's say, even if someone wanted to draw it like this, it would still make sense. And so I just waited that it broke through 583, took my entry. My target, the first one was right around I guess here. Yeah, I was looking for a top at 6 or something like that. I didn't want to sell it here at 588. I wanted to say, okay, it was also quite a brand new 5-minute candle, so I think it was fine to hold the second and wait for maybe a small pullback and then a push higher. The small pullback never happened. Basically, the bid dropped immediately to 571, something like that, and I managed to get out about 582. So I limited a bit the losses, but wasn't great. It was fine. Then CWBR, which was instead very thick, very thickly traded, slow moving, but I had a couple of decent plays on this one. I mean, one it was a miss for a stupid, let's say, spoofer on the ask. But let's go in order. This was the first one. Basically, I saw it coming from this higher push and this moderate pullback, pretty steep still, but it didn't retrace most of the candle, found support on these 2 levels, and basically my stop was so close that I said, oh, you know what, I'm going to take 3 times my share size here, given the range of this candle, so it was perfectly fine. And I sold for small profits, but still some profits, right around here and here. So very small, from basically my entry was at 211, so basically here, and I sold half at 215, and let's see, 216 and 217. No, sorry, the entry was 213 here, and sold here 216, 217. This other one was instead a bit weird. I mean, I like the idea. It was again a sort of descending resistance, break of descending resistance. It reclaimed here. This was the 8 a.m. candle. That's usually very whippy, as you can see. I basically enter here at 211, and immediately here at 212 appeared a very big seller, very big compared to the volume of these candles. So it dropped, and I jumped out immediately to 210. It actually didn't go much further down to 09. I maybe could have held here. It then went straight to my target, which was a test of this high 219. It went straight to basically 220. So pretty good. That was a level that it struggled to break. Last play on CWBR was of support here. I saw this move higher. I didn't wait for the breakout because I wasn't sure whether these levels would have given a lot of resistance or just a small resistance, and not being sure, I said okay, there are a lot of lines here providing support, so maybe an entry here 206 could be fine. And as it broke through view up and couldn't hold, I basically sold it for 1 cent loser. That was fine. I wouldn't say expecting, but let's say the idea was that finding support here, maybe it would have tested it and go higher. It didn't. That's fine. Next. From a very thick stock, then we jump to a pretty whippy one. This is an awful chart, but still, again, I was in terms of price action, this is very choppy, like really choppy. What I liked here though was that this candle had support here, and it was after reclaiming view up and was above this daily level, which seemed to hold. So I took my entry here basically at 717, so right about here above this flat top, and it became immediately very whippy. This one faked me out quite well. I gave it a lot of room to move, but you know, when I saw it crushing this level, when going below the 9 EMA, I wasn't sure, so I sold back at 706. Needless to say, it immediately on the next candle ripped higher and it basically reached my target. The first one, I mean, not even the first one, it was basically the only target I could see here. As you can see, this is also a pivot from pre-market, so I was basically looking for a move to the high of day, and it's actually where it went. So good idea again, but I've been chopped out. I have to. I'm trying to work on this, giving stocks the time they take and the room they take, considering their behavior, to provide the move I'm expecting with my trade idea, not cutting them sooner. It's something that with a very small account, very small share size, it's not. I mean, it's not easy. I'm trying to defend myself a bit, but clearly in these occasions I'm more damaging myself rather than making it useful. So next day, the 12th of August, I took 3 plays on 3 different stocks. Very different from one another again. There was PBTS. I was looking for this breakout here of this flat top basically. As you can see, there is a flat top here at 177. This was very thick, and then there was this ascending support line. You can make it here or even just up to here. And so this was this kind of wedge forming, no? And I took it immediately 178, and I sold it a bit too soon, like 8081 and 181 and 180. Again, I was there with 3 times my share size given the small range that it had. The reason why I sold it here was because this was a new 5-minute candle, and as you can see, it was holding on nothing. And even though my target was actually here, I hoped that it was this candle going straight to the target. Instead, it made this new one, and being the first play of the day, I didn't want to get a loser on this one. I would say, you know what, book the profits. You're going to have another chance if it allows for. So that was the play I took here, and then and then I went to a very weird stock for me. I went to Palantir, and you can guess how was the overall market action, considering I took Palantir, which is a 1 billion stock float. So very big float on this one. And I don't usually trade them. The thing is that a fellow trader of mine basically called it, and I was looking for the setup he called for. Basically, when I saw it, it was like this. Okay, so I was seeing basically this situation, and I was saying, okay, if you break this candle here at 24.35, then we may have something interesting. It made this move here, and as it broke through on this candle, which is also was a small pullback on the 1 minute, which I liked, I jumped in. The only issue was that to do this kind of reasoning, I basically had maybe 10 or 15 seconds, and I didn't have a lot of time to study how it was moving, and not being very used to this stock, I basically bailed out here. So I jumped in at 24.32 and 34, sorry, and that was exactly as my entry, and it then went to 24.45, 46, 49, which were maybe the target, the $0.50 here. It was a bit harder to break. On the daily, from this level, 24.36, there was this small range to 24.48 that was, you can see there was very little gap here, no? This one that was being filled, and then the stock started to move in this level now, inside that gap, and then it pushed higher as it broke through, failed, reclaimed, very hard bounce, started to reach basically the next level, went a bit beyond it. I mean, my play didn't work out very well here. And from these very thick stocks, I jumped into AHPI, which this was a crazy one, very whippy, with a huge range on each single candle. These are 14.93, 15.20, 14.89, 15.28, so 30-40 cents, which basically means I had to jump in with half share size. What I was looking for, this is a pretty extended on the 5, and I mean very extended considering this candle, and I usually don't take this kind of plays. What I liked of this one, and that's why I took basically the trade, was this ascending support with the lows of the candles that were going higher and higher. So basically, as it broke through 15, so 15.17, the high of the candle, I had an entry of 15.20, which was basically the top here, and my stop my stop was here at the low of this candle. So basically the low of the candle it was signing the breakout, and it really began to go very whippy, and even though it didn't tap it, and so my actual play would have worked very well with my target being basically this level here. I'm not saying just for the sake of it, but the ideal target was a test of 1639, or at least reaching 16, which it did, and I basically bailed out at the ask in this case, basically here, after seeing 1489 on the bid, and I wasn't feeling very comfortable. So I think I was brave enough to take this setup. Maybe in the future I will be able to resist this kind of moves for 3, 4, 5 minutes and then let it run. But all things considered, it was fine. Then the final day, which is basically on Friday, I missed completely this whole move because I was busy and couldn't trade. So as I sat back to the desk, I could see this kind of move. I wasn't feeling the stock very within me. I wasn't in sync with it, because I just basically noticed that it was moving and it was the open. This is a red-green move, and they usually do well, but it's not a setup that I'm used to take. So I waited, trying to resist the FOMO of jumping on some setups. I was watching already this one because there was this ascending support, and it looked like a small but nice pullback with the stop that would have been here and the breakout here. So 1040 to 1011, wide range, but still a decent one. I waited. I said, you know what? Let's try and to see if we can get something a bit maybe more quiet. And the opportunity came here as the stock reclaimed the 9 EMA and was basically coming off from view up, pulling back. First, basically, not the first 1 minute candle, but the first 5 minute candle to make a new high above view up was this one here. So I took my entry basically right around, let me check. Yeah, and I anticipated. I didn't went for this high, but I went for this high here. So I basically was in at 1038 something, and I sold the first half after seeing that it could break 1050, came back down again, retested 1050, went through. I sold at 1053. And then I was ready to wait with the other half to reach maybe at least 1080 or even the high of day, or even better, going to 1136. Nope. The stock had other plans, and my stop was basically below 1041. So I had adjusted it since I already took some profits, and it didn't even tap it. It went straight down to 10. I saw 1026 on the bid, and I bailed out immediately because I wasn't sure that I would have been filled on the ask. So I bailed out, and basically it became a break-even play with the 1038, 1053, 1029. Basically, this was the result of this trade. So almost break-even week. I had lost a bit more than I gained, but there were a lot of trades that could have been good winners among those that I took. So let's see. It's a tough journey, and I'm really trying to learn a lot from this. Also about myself, and I think with dedication, time, and I wouldn't say luck, but maybe a different market, more consistent and stronger one, profits will come. I just need to stick to my rules, stick to the plan. Do not hesitate on the setups I like. Be ready to cut the losses immediately when they hit my stop, and profits will come sooner or later. With this, I wish you a very good weekend, or whenever you're going to see this one, and stay green. Bye bye.